Good morning. It's not, oh, good afternoon. It's Sunday. I just got done writing my blog for the week, so I'm over here now. I'm toying with the idea of starting to go live with this. We'll have to wait and see what happens. The last time I tried that, my equipment didn't function properly, so I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. I'd also like to be able to do a blog, but the problem with a podcast. But the problem I have with that is that I really can't get people to come over here and interview because the ones that the political ones and the ones that I know down here all speak Spanish, and not everybody speaks Spanish, including myself. So that would be a little bit difficult. My fans mostly speak English, all three of them. Uh, All right, so where are we? This conspiracy theory stuff is getting out of control. I mean, I remember how it was after during the investigation of the Kennedy assassination, all the theories that came out. The CIA did it, the mob did it. This person was involved. This person wasn't involved. The grassy knoll, the magic bullet. I mean, you can go on and on with the theories that are there. So it doesn't surprise me. But those theories, at least, you could pull a little bit from the story, and it was actually made some sense sometimes. I have my own theories about that, and then that assassination thing, and then it goes along with some of the conspiracy theories. But then you look at what's going on now with QAnon, and I mean, um, show me first of all, show me the proof the election was rigged. Show me the proof that the election, let me see it in black and white or video or sound or whatever, where somebody's admitting to the fact that there was fraud in the election and that you can prove it. Otherwise, shut up. Okay, you don't know what you're talking about. You've gone beyond. You're a very this conspiracy. Those conspiracies become extremely dangerous. Then you got these people saying that there's a pedophile ring in the White House. Look, there's a pedophile ring around the corner. Look at the Catholic Church. Okay, there's no such thing as a pedophile-free environment. There may or may not be pedophiles in the Senate or the Congress, but are they eating little children? Are they running an organized ring out of a pizza parlor? I don't think so. Okay. I don't know what they're doing or if they're doing anything. But it wouldn't surprise me. But I don't think they're doing something out of a pizza parlor. I don't think that they eat babies. I don't think that you've got as many whack jobs. The whack jobs that I look at are the ones that are from QAnon that are, voicing all this stuff and making all this stuff up. Uh, Show me some sort of basis for your claims. The magic bullet was the bullet that was found, so therefore you have a ballistic oddity that you can sit there and say, okay, there's something. All right, there's a maybe. There's a possibility. There's something there. Uh, Baby eating politicians and pedophiles and whatnot, you should be able to come up with some proof. All right, the cover-ups or whatever you have. If you can get to the Catholic Church, you can get to the Congress of the United States and figure out who's doing what and be able to prove something. I don't think you want to do that if you're a Republican and you're in the Senate and you want to start an investigation like that. Be very careful what you wish for. All right. I mean, there's some people in the Senate that I have my doubts about. That might be a little kinky. Who knows? So don't go around saying stuff like that unless you can prove it. What's the purpose of that? I just saw it where the Trumpster's defense attorneys left. Now I'm not sure if that's what's that about. Is it because he wants to bring up the election fraud and whatnot, and rather than the fact that he started a riot as his defense? I don't know. Is this simply a delaying tactic? Because the longer that delay, the less likely there is that a Republican will vote for it. Because the closer they get to re-election, the more they care about themselves and less about the public. The less, in other words, the less they think about you and me. They think mostly about themselves. That's what they do. I'm hoping Biden's a one-term president, because if that's the case, then he's got 4 years. Otherwise, he's got 2 years to do everything, because then he starts working for re-election. The Congress and the Senate might or might not turn to Republican. If it turns to Republican, he might as well go on vacation, because that's the way that this two-party system works. There's no compromise. There's no let's sit down and talk. I mean, there were times when Biden and McCain sat down and talked. They worked out deals. They got things done. Nobody wants to get anything done anymore. Everybody says, well, Trump's, that's why we voted for the Trumpster. We wanted to get rid of all this stuff. So what you're getting there is you're getting a dictator, a man who only wants what's good for him. All dictators or all anarchists, whatever you want to call them, do a little something for their people. They throw them cake, all right? Or they throw them bread, and then the rest of it's all, done in the background, and they're stealing from you. I mean, the Trumpster does it by chaos. He presents a chaotic front, and in reality, he's stealing from you. There's evidence to that effect too. I mean, as time goes on, you'll see that he's done this in the past. And if the district attorneys go forward with what they're going for, that's why he wants to get back into politics. That's why he wants the Republicans in power, so that they can quash all this stuff that's going on around him. He hopes, if he gets elected president again in 2024, if he's able to do that, pull that off, and he's able to stay out of jail until then, or even if he goes to jail then, who knows? I mean, he may be elected. He may be elected president from jail. That's possible. I think. I'm not sure. Maybe you can't run if you're a convicted felon. And the Democrats have this impeachment going on, and the point of the impeachment isn't to convict him of starting a riot. The purpose of of this impeachment is to stop him from being able to run for public office again. I don't know why everybody's afraid of this fat guy. All right, he's got very little power outside of the White House. He's got very little power in the real world. I mean, he's not going to destroy you financially. I mean, he's not smart enough to take on some of the people out there. He's not smart enough to take on a Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or something like that. It's not going to happen without the congressional backing, of the Senate and the Congress. He can't do it. He'd like to think he can, but he can't. And that's his ego talking when he thinks he can crush you. Can he crush me? Probably. I'm just a little guy with a big mouth and a fat ass. But I don't care, I have friends and whatnot that if he went after them, that would be the biggest mistake he ever made. They have friends that would be very upset about that, and I don't think he wants to deal with those people. Not everybody I know is a nice guy or a nice woman. But I don't want to go there, because that's just, at this point in time, that's just conjecture and gets me in trouble and gets them in trouble. But I don't understand all the fear that the Republicans have. That his base, which is, I talked to one guy and I couldn't understand and everything, his whole point of view, until I realized he was a racist. He's a white supremacist. That's what it's all about. He doesn't believe in abortion. He doesn't believe in women's rights, and he doesn't believe that off-colored people have the same rights as he does. And he's an immigrant. He's not a natural-born citizen. the people that suffer most in this country and have suffered most in this country aren't the blacks, aren't the whites, aren't the Indians, it's the American Indian. I mean, all you got to do is start reading history books, and you might have to dig some because they're starting to delete stories, and part of the problem is that the Indian history isn't a written history; it's an oral history passed down from generation to generation, and they're losing those people to COVID-19, so they're losing their history. Um, and their history is all about fighting for themselves and protecting their families. It's about being persecuted and killed and slaughtered. You read the story of Wounded Knee. I don't care what version you read of it; it's the same thing. They went in and killed the Indians, and there wasn't any real reason for that. Um, there's a story that somebody fired a shot and everybody fired. I can go along with that. I mean, I've seen that before. I saw that in New York City when they went after, I can't remember the guy's name, a black guy in a hallway, and I don't know how many cops had him cornered, and he was reaching for his wallet for identification, and they fired 61 shots and hit him twice. Once or twice, I think, out of 61 rounds. Several of those guys had to reload to keep firing. And that was just because somebody yelled, "He's going for a gun," or something like that, and fired a shot. That happens all the time. That's that mob mentality, or whatever you want to talk about, self-preservation. That's where I don't want automatic weapons in the hands of private citizens, and so they go out hunting, and they unload a full magazine at a deer that's running across the field, and they kill 3 or 4 other people, or 4 or 5 other animals that aren't legal to hunt, and they don't care. But that's another story to talk about down the road, I guess. I wish Biden a lot of luck. I mean, he's got some good ideas. I don't agree with everything everybody says. I try to be very independent when I look at something. I don't look at something and say it's great because it's a Democratic idea. Bullshit. Democrats have had a lot of bad ideas, But I go back to the same thing about the Republicans and their hatred of Obamacare, and I don't understand the true hatred of that. Whether it's something that's hurting their constituency, meaning what is the AMA or something, the American Medical Association that was against it, or what have you. I don't really know where I came from, the hatred of that. But I said it back then, and I'll say it now. You got a better idea? Let's go with it. Put it out there. Let's see what it is, But they don't. They haven't. That's the thing about the dissension when they have it in the Congress and the Senate. They don't necessarily have a better idea. At least this time they're coming forward with a different COVID policy that they want to institute, and I think that's smart. I think Biden went overboard when he proposed the bill, because I don't know where we're going to get the money to pay for it. But I thought that maybe he was trying to get a compromise by doing that. See if he could get some guys together to sit down and talk. And that's what he wants. You've got to have conversations, and then right now with the way the polarizing effect that Trump had on the Senate and the Congress and whatnot, people don't talk anymore. They don't go out to lunch and sit down, have a martini, and say, "What do you think?" They don't. They're out for themselves. Yes, I understand that. All politicians are out for themselves. They're trying to make their lives better, not yours. All right? They all think they're smarter than you because they all believe that's the purpose of the Electoral College, that the majority of the people in this country are not capable of picking a president of the United States. This time, the majority of the people, 11 million people, the difference was over 11 million more than Trump picked the Democrats, a Democratic president, because they were just so sick of the Trumpster. Yes, the electoral vote was very close, but that's one of the reasons I don't like the electoral vote. As far as I could tell, we're the only system in the country, in the the world, other than maybe some of the dictatorial countries that have the so-called parliamentary elections, um, that where the public doesn't pick its leaders. You know, hell, I remember you could go down to a train station and see Eisenhower, or yeah, Eisenhower. I guess would be the last one that I remember, or the earliest one, the only one I would remember. That you could go someplace and you could see him in public because he had a tour of the country. He didn't just go to Michigan. He didn't just go to Georgia or Arizona. He went around, or Florida. They went around the country and talked to everybody, and they listened. Now, whether they did anything about it or not, but at least they knew what the people were thinking. You know, if you don't go out and you listen to people, and yes, you're going to get some ideas that are way off the wall, really crazy ideas. But if you don't do that, if you don't go out and listen to people, and how can you govern these people? How can you say that this is what they want? Because they voted for you? This is an election where they didn't vote for somebody because they voted for, yes, they voted, a lot of people voted because they believed in Joe Biden, but a lot of people voted because they just didn't want Trump back again. So, anyhow, I gotta go have lunch. I'll be back during the week. Like I said, I'm going to see if my equipment this new equipment that I've got, camera and whatever, microphone, will work with U2 Live. And if it does, then we'll be back and we'll do something live. All right? Okay, everybody, take care.